to order. Let's start off with, can we have a confirmation? We do have quorum, I can tell. You confirm we've had proper notice of this meeting? All right, very good. Next item is the minutes of the meeting on September 15th. Have the members had a chance to review the minutes, comments or questions thereon?
I have a couple questions. I didn't tell it, so.
I made a note of those and I'll make sure that's corrected.
We've got some corrections to the minutes, is that correct?
They left me out.
That's a major omission.
That correction will be made to the attendance.
Can I have a motion on the minutes as corrected? I'll move to approve them as corrected.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
What was really bad was Damon was given credit for voting and he was telling them you weren't on the meeting, so.
But I was.
You're thinking about it.
All right, moving on. Item number 5 is the consent agenda on the claims docket. Members had a chance to review the claims and any comments or questions on the claims. Hearing none, how about a motion on the claims?
I'll motion.
Those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Carries. Okay, item number 6. We're going to have a public hearing on the proposed resolution approving certain amendments to leases and other matters related to the city of Fisher's taxable economic development revenue bonds, the City View project. Dustin's on the line. Dustin, could you give us an overview of this proposed resolution?
Yeah, good afternoon, Commissioners. Dustin Meeks, Barnes and Thornburg, LLP. So last year, the city issued a series of bond anticipation notes to provide interim financing to the City View project, which is a mixed-use development at 116th Street in the downtown area of the city. There's a desire by the city to provide for additional interim financing of that project prior to completing a permanent financing transactions or long-term bonds for that project. Because of the desire to continue the interim financing, there is a need to update the authorized parameters for both the bond anticipation notes and then the takeout financing bonds to reflect that there will be additional capitalized interest in the interim financing, which is we're looking at up to 4 years of continued interim financing. What the resolution provides is an amendment to each of 2 leases that were entered into between the Redevelopment Commission and the Town Hall Building Corporation in 2024 incident to the financing, which will provide the security that ultimately will back the permanent financing bonds. Those amendments provide for increases to the maximum authorized principal amount of both the bond anticipation notes and the bonds, and an increase to the maximum annual lease rentals that are payable under each of those leases. All of this, and it authorizes an increase of the maximum interest rate on the both on the bond anticipation notes and bonds. All of this is in service of aligning the parameters with the market conditions that have been presented to the city for the interim financing of this project. So, and happy to answer any questions that the commissioners might have.
Any comments or questions from the members regarding the proposed resolution? Hearing none. Okay, we will at this point open the public hearing on this resolution. Do we have any members of the public here who wish to address the resolution? Hearing that there are no members of the public who wish to address the resolution, we'll close the public hearing. How about we have a vote now on the resolution?
Move to approve the resolution.
I'll second that motion.
Second. Those in favor of the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. All right, item 6B is a proposed resolution amending a lease with the Fishers Redevelopment Authority.
Yeah, commissioners, this is me again, Justin Meeks, Barnes and Thornburg. Incident to the amendment to the lease, one of the two leases addressed in your prior resolution, to increase the maximum lease rentals that the commission is potentially going to pay. We also needed to look at the value of the lease premises that were identified under the lease. And the value of your lease premises has to be in line with the lease rentals that you're going to pay. And so because there was a need for additional lease rentals, there is a need to provide for additional lease premises under that public lease. The public lease, the lease premises under that document are roads in the city. And so we had to identify some additional roads as additional lease premises under the public lease. And through that, what we have decided to do is to release roads that were previously leased for a prior financing in 2016 under a lease between the Commission and the Redevelopment Authority. And we're able to do that because the leases, for financing leases, allow the authority and the Commission, or the building corp and the Commission, depending on the lease, to release lease premises when these premises are no longer needed to support lease rentals based upon the amount of the financing that has been completed. So in this 2016 financing, the city has paid down the principal and interest on those 2016 bonds adequate to release a portion of the lease premises under that financing. And that allows us to use those roads as lease premises for the City View financing. So what this resolution does is it approves releasing the lease premises under that 2016 lease so that they can be used as lease premises under your new expanded City View public lease. I'm happy to answer any questions that commissioners may have.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
I had a quick question. How much capacity do we have for these road leases? Are we maxing out on opportunity there, or they just get refreshed periodically?
I cannot speak.
Sorry, Jennifer here. We have a good supply of roads because if you think about it, it's all roads within the city limits of Fishers. So, and then when one is paid down enough, it releases back into inventory. So it's just a continual process of making sure that the leased assets that we have, we free them up, and then if we need them again, we can pull them back into a lease project. So myself, Lauren, Barnes and Thornburg, we all kind of track that. And when one is ready to be released, we release it, and then it just goes back. But because you're talking about all the roads within the city of Fishers, it's a pretty adequate inventory.
Thank you, Lisa. I was just curious.
Tony, it's also assets of the Town Hall Building Corporation. So if you'll remember, like we've leased the fire stations, you can bond on
Parking
those.
garage.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay, thanks.
In this particular case, we're actually reducing the size of the square footage of the lease, I suppose. Any other questions from the members about a motion on the resolution?
I'll motion. I'll second.
Those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Let's see, item 6, should be 6C, I guess. Resolution approving grant agreement and transferring real estate acquisition funds to the Fishers Town Hall Building Corporation.
Yes, so this is a resolution approving the grant agreement that was attached as an exhibit to transfer $1,980,000 to the Town Hall Building Corporation for the purpose of acquiring 2 properties. One being the what was the Chicken and Pickle property out at the event center for roughly $1 million, a little bit additional because of closing cost and title commitment cost. And then the other piece of property is 9645 South Street, which is behind First Internet Bank. So this is approving the money to be transferred to the Town Hall Building Corporation to purchase those two properties.
And those properties, as I understand it, after the purchase is made by the Town Hall Building Corp., those properties will ultimately be transferred to the Redevelopment Commission.
That is correct. That is correct. And they will be over time used for economic development purposes going through the process that's kind of standard among this body, including RFP.
Questions from the members on the resolution?
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Resolution is adopted. Next item, resolution approving First Amendment to amended and restated projects agreement, Thompson Thrift Union Project.
Yes, so in the Union Crossing Project Agreement, the amended agreement that was previously approved, all the city bodies, including this one, approved certain additional, we call them additional allocation areas that would support the Union and the crossing projects, but these parcels over time would not be owned by Thompson Thrift, but were needed to support their development. The city backstopped those taxpayer agreements, but as development has continued around that event center, we need to take the taxpayer agreement from one parcel, from parcel 6, or what would be lot 6 there, and move it to parcel 5, which was the chicken and pickle parcel. It doesn't change the amount of the obligation, and it doesn't create a larger burden for the city. It just takes that taxpayer agreement off one property that is right for redevelopment, that again, will come back to this body to make any ultimate decision, and puts that taxpayer agreement, combines it with another to add it to this chicken and pickle parcel.
Any questions from the members? How about a motion on the resolution?
So moved.
All right. Those in favor of adopting the resolution, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Last item we got on the agenda here is the 2026 spending plan.
So as part of state statute, every year before December 1st, redevelopment commissions have to submit and approve their spending plan. So go to the common accounts, just, what everything we're going to be spending money on next year. And that's all this is, just kind of split out, between debt service, professional services, rents, grants like you just approved. So that's all this is. I'm happy to answer any questions on it.
These are the hard numbers that we're expecting.
Mhm.
And then there's obviously an unknown. That's part of that budget as well.
Mhm.
Okay.
So are we calling for the
Approval of
commission
it. To approve.
formally adopt the spending plan?
Correct.
I have a motion to approve.
Second.
Those in favor of adopting the 2026 spending plan of the Fisher's Redevelopment Commission, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Any other business, Megan, we have today?
No.
I think we're adjourned.